What's up, guys? Today I want to go over the Immersive Engineering mod. So this video I want to serve as kind of a quick start guide to getting started with the Immersive Engineering mod and getting things going. So that includes this kind of water wheel for power generation, all of the haphazardly thrown together power cables, how to get fluids into containers, conveyor belts for different machines, an example machine, which is the garden Clotch, that uses both power and water. I also have a crude blast furnace, which is used for getting steel, as well as a coke oven for getting the oil you need in order to make treated wood. So with that, let's jump right in. I'm also not a villager. I promise this is just a mask. So the first thing that I typically like to do is I get a copy of the engineer's manual. This is the guidebook for the Immersive Engineering mod. It claims the recipe is a book and a lever. It doesn't have any like crafting tweak warning or anything, so this should be the like general recipe. I'm in the Skyfactory mod, Skyfactory 5 mod pack, and I am supposed to make an eccentric tome, which I did, and then this lets me get the guidebook for any mod by right-clicking on it, and then I can turn it into the engineer's manual. I recommend getting a copy of it because not only does it show you just like the general resources and stuff that it adds into the game, as well as like tools and stuff that you can make later, but it also shows you how to make multi-block machines, which I think is very valuable, given that it's not immediately obvious how to build some of those things. So for example, the coke oven, I'm sorry my book is like a little small. I don't know how to make it bigger. But the coke oven is something we're going to need to make, and it shows you how to build it. It also shows you how to build the more complicated machines that take like different blocks and aren't just like rectangles or something like that. So I do recommend getting a copy of it just because it'll be very useful if you plan on doing an appreciable amount of stuff in the mod. Now, one of the first things that I try to make in the Immersive Engineering mod is I want to make an engineering table or engineering workbench. Engineer's workbench. So this is the first thing that I typically like to make, and this lets you build either things that can only be made in the engineer's workbench. I know the incandescent light bulb can only be made in the workbench or a more complicated version of the workbench. It also lets you make things cheaper if you can make them in a crafting table. So like this thing we can make in a crafting table, but it takes 1 copper and 4 iron plates, whereas the engineer's workbench lets you take 2 iron plates and 1 copper. So it's just cheaper to do it there. Now, if you look at the recipe, either from the book or from the Just Enough Items integration, it's going to say that you need treated wood. So we don't really have treated wood. And if you go through this recipe, it's going to say that we need a bucket of oil. So this we need to make a machine for. The thing that we need to make is a coke oven. So what we want for the coke oven, and the book has this too. I also showed it in the intro. We need to make this coke brick, and we need 27 of it. So that means we need to make 9 recipes worth, and it's just clay balls, bricks, and sandstone. I'm in Skyfactory, so I have a lot of options here. But yeah, sandstone of any type and bricks of any type as well. When we do that, we can put it in a just 3x3x3 area. So I'm just going to place them down like this. And then we take the engineer's hammer, which looks like this, and it has a recipe of 2 iron ingots, a string of any kind, and any sticks. And then we can take it and we right-click like one of the middle blocks. Does it work on the side? No. You take one of the middle blocks and you can right-click it, and it will make this like, hole here. And when you right-click on the entire thing, it should bring up this GUI. So this is how we can get the oil. What we do is we put logs into it. It doesn't take any fuel, and it will give us charcoal, and it will give us a little bit of oil. And then when you have a lot of oil in there, you can put a bucket and it will bring it down here and fill it up when it has 1,000 MB, I think. This will take a minute, so we just have to wait a little bit. All right, so I've waited enough time to be able to get 2 buckets worth of oil. So you take this oil now, and we can go grab normal wood. We can make wood planks, and then we can make the treated wood that we need to be able to make a lot of things in the mod, including the workbench. So now what we need to do first is make, after I go through my chain, the engineer's crafting table. This will be 4 treated sticks and 3 treated slabs. These are made the same way as normal sticks and slabs are made. So we can make the sticks with this one, and then make the slabs this way. And then we need a normal crafting table here. Does this work? It gives me the Tinker's Construct one. No, it doesn't. How do I make this? How do I make the normal one? Sorry, excuse me. Don't know how to make the normal one. There we go. Okay, so now I can make it. And then this one will also require, I think, fence posts. Yeah, so we have the slabs, but we need a fence post. This actually requires one more round of treated wood. So I grab more oil, do another round, and then I can make the fence posts. So I can do that. Okay. So then we can do the recipe that it says there, which is that, and then we have an iron ingot. So the slabs, the table, fence posts, and the iron. This gives us the engineer's workbench, which I'll put back here. And this is a 2-block wide thingy. Mine doesn't. Oh yeah, right. Mine over there has a like blueprint on it. But I forgot that you actually need to have a thing in here for that to show up. Okay, so this is the workbench. It's not going to be useful yet because you need a blueprint in here for it to be able to do anything. So one for the incandescent bulb. What it says is it's just engineer's blueprint, and it crafts a breadth of things. I've never had to make anything more than this one. The way this one is made is with blue dye, paper, and aluminum, iron, and copper. I actually forgot to grab half of that stuff, so I'm going to have to go into my messy island to go grab them. Let's see, do I have aluminum here? I do not have aluminum here. Cool. What I'm actually going to do is steal this one and act like I made it. The aluminum should be part of the Immersive Engineering mod. And then the other things are just vanilla Minecraft. So that's the recipe there. You put it into the slot. You'll see this like blueprint hanging off because we treat our blueprints well here. This allows us to make whatever is in the list. So I'm going to use the garden clutch as an example of something that I want to make. So this will require an iron mechanical component as well as an incandescent light bulb. So the iron component can be made through the crafting recipe, the crafting table, but it's cheaper to make it through the engineer's workbench. So we can get these iron plates by using the hammer on some ingots. So I can go grab some iron, and I'll grab the copper as well. And we can make a couple of these. So go do that, and then we put it in, and we can make one of them right there. We also need a bulb, and the way this will be made is with bamboo and paper, or paper, glass and copper. So the copper's already in there. I'll grab glass and bamboo that I happen to have. And this gives us light bulbs. It makes 3 each. So we can make a bunch of those. I'll just make the minimum amount. And then the way we can make the rest of it is just things that we already have. So we have the treated wood. We can put the light bulb. We can put glass. And then we can put the component there. This gives us a garden clutch, which I will place down just like right here or something. This thing is really useful, and it's something that I do almost immediately in any mod pack. And it farms you items just with one set of seeds, and it will just automatically put the outputs here. It requires water. It doesn't require fertilizer. It just says fertilizer, but it just requires water, and it requires power. So I will show you how we can get the power next, and that will be useful for pretty much anything you'll do. But the water also will be required for the garden clutch, which might not be as useful. So the power will take a few things. One of them is this LV wire coil. This can be made by putting a treated stick or any stick, I guess, and making this copper wire. You can make copper plates, which is a hammer and the ingots. Then you can make this copper wire by using an engineer's wire cutters on it. That recipe is just an iron ingot and sticks. And that will then let you make this coil, which you do with this recipe. We need the coil to be able to make the wires. Then we can also make some sort of accumulator. This is just so that we have the power to go somewhere. This isn't necessary, but it's useful. But it's not necessary. We also need LV wire connector. This is copper and terracotta. It can be any color terracotta, and that can just be made by smelting clay. Then we also need an LV wire relay, which is a very similar recipe. It's just 2 copper and 2 terracotta instead of 4. We're going to need all of these things in order to be able to connect it. So this gets us how we connect it and how we can store the energy, but this does not get us how we make the energy. How we make the energy is what I have over here. Sorry, it's kind of dark. I have a giant water wheel here, And this is pretty much my entire power grid for my island at the moment. And this thing will just spin forever, and then you can connect it with those relays that I was talking about into whatever we need. So we're going to need to be able to make a water wheel. And this will be a little bit more involved. So the way we can make a water wheel is I will first look it up. So what we need to do is get these little water wheel segments here. We're going to need 4 of them, but these are luckily just treated wood, which we already know how to get. I might need to smelt more stuff here. But then we also need this steel ingot. This can be made with another machine with a blast furnace, and it's specifically a crude blast furnace in our case. So the crude blast furnace is another 3x3x3, so you're going to need 27 total. The recipe is a magma block, normal bricks, and then nether bricks. And we're going to need, again, 9 recipes, just like the coke furnace, or the coke furnace? Coke oven. But it's a different recipe. We're going to do a 3x3x3 with this as well. Otherwise, same process, other than being a different block that you have to make. And then we go find our hammer, and we right-click the middle. So this will let us make the crude blast furnace. We can then put iron in here. And I believe we need some sort of fuel of some sort. I don't know if it takes anything or if it takes other stuff. It might take charcoal. Yeah, all right. I'm assuming charcoal and coal work, but I could be wrong about the coal. It doesn't tell me on this, which is kind of annoying. Oh, yeah, it totally does tell you. It just tells you on a different page. Yeah, coal, charcoal, and coke. And actually not coal. Sorry. Just charcoal. Okay. Anyways, we have to wait for this to be made, and we only need 1 steel, luckily. But this lets you get steel quite early. I didn't actually know this the first time I did it, so I did like a whole bunch of stuff through thermal expansion. I had to go through like 5 different machines or something to get it. Anyways, so we need more treated wood, so I'm just going to make more treated wood real fast. This is the same process that we did before, where we do the buckets with the planks, and I might need more logs. And then we can make the wheel segments. So we can make it like that. I think we need 3, and then you make it with that recipe, and I need 1 more round here. Which I'm out of oil, so I'm going to have to grab some oil from somewhere else. So then once we get that, we can get the steel from this thing, which it's already made. It also gives you slag, which can be used in other things. It says it's from thermal expansion in my case, so I think I might have some mod pack magic going on there. But we take the steel. We just need to make another one of these water wheel segments, which I'll do off camera, and then we can make a full water wheel. All right, so I can make the water wheel. So I'm going to grab that. Now what we need to do is, first of all, I need to go grab some water. We need to kind of make a little channel so that the water can go the direction that we need it to go down. So I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, you just need to pour one side of the water wheel. The side of the water wheel matters. Just using this one as an example, we can see that the water wheel is going clockwise in this case. We need to make another block called, I have to jump over these wires, called a kinetic dynamo. And this will connect on the side. It'll connect in the behind of the water wheel when you are looking at it when it's going clockwise. So it's going clockwise and it's in the back. If it were going counterclockwise, then we would put it in the front. So the direction kind of matters, and that lets you kind of put the dynamo in a more convenient place. So I'll get the water going first, and I'll make it where it'll go counterclockwise, so opposite of that one. Okay. So I think I need a little bit more space here. So we need to, first of all, place it down. I'm just going to place it on the ground. What we do is we build 3 blocks up, and then we place it on this top one right here, and that will let you place it down. It's not small. Then we want it to go counterclockwise. So we want it to go to the left here. So I'm going to go up and make a water channel at the top. You can kind of walk on top of it to see where the blocks are. I believe it's 3 on the top, and then it will go down by 1 on the sides. So we need it to flow to the left. So I'm going to go all the way to the left here, and then on the one that lets me do it like that, I'm going to go up. And we're just going to make a small channel so that it will be able to flow and not just flow directly off the side. One more. And then just off of this one, I'm going to make sure that it, keeps going down. And then just one more block off so that it can go down properly. Okay. Fill that in. And then I'm just going to let it fall off the edge. I'm on Skyblock, so I can just let it do that. You can just put a little one block down there, even if there's floor here. And this just lets it so it doesn't pour everywhere right here. Okay, now I gotta get the water up there. So I should be able to pour this down, and it should just go to the other side. And then you should see it turning. I think I might be blocking the wheel, though. Let me get rid of some stuff. Maybe it's this one. Get rid of that one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can block it with some blocks in the wrong spots, so just be careful with that. But we need to place some stuff down to be able to get it up there in the first place. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to get rid of that one. So now it's flowing. It's going counterclockwise. We need to make a kinetic dynamo next, and we'll put it on this front section. So the kinetic dynamo is made with this recipe where we have redstone, iron. We have this iron mechanical component we've already made, which is this thing. Then we also need to make a copper coil block, which is made with an iron ingot. And then 8 of the coils, which is made with this recipe. And then again, these things are made with this recipe. And then you use the engineering hair to make those. So I'll make those real fast because I also need more of those. So we have 2, I think it's 2 plates. And then we have the cutters. We do the cutters. We grab normal sticks. We actually need a lot more than that. I forget it makes, it makes 1 at a time, but then when you go to make the coils, it makes you 4. And I always forget, which one makes you how many. Okay, so we have 8. I'll put them in like that. And that gives us 8. And then we go and make an iron in the middle. We get the copper block. And then we can make this thing. I'm going to need to make another one of those little mechanical thingies. So I can go in here, put it in there, and make one of those. And now we can make this thing. All right. So yeah, it's going counterclockwise, which means we need to put it in the front. When you place it down, if you place it like that, this has the giant hole here facing me. I'm pretty sure I need this to face into it because this is the only side that has that. So it's kind of annoying in that I have to build off of this thing to be able to then get a block here and then place it so that it's facing inward. If this is going clockwise, then you have to put this thing on the other side. You still have to make sure that the one with the hole on it, is facing into the water wheel though. So now once we have this, we can take our LV wire connectors and we can put it on any one of these faces that has the little copper wire thingy. So I'm going to do it on this one. And then we can make, first of all, an accumulator. This is made with this recipe. I'm sorry that I'm going to kind of gloss over this because it's kind of complicated otherwise. But we can make a bucket of redstone acid using water and redstone dust. And then we can make lead plates, which is lead. There should be lead from the Immersive Engineering mod. Mine says thermal foundation because more than one mod will add the same thing, so they usually just choose one of them to roll with. But you can make lead plates, and then we have the treated wood around it, and then we have iron ingots. I think this should be the recipe, though the lead plates might be a little bit different. So once you make that, we can place it kind of in close proximity to this thing, and then we can place another connector. And what we want to do is put it on the one with the blue side there. There's a blue side and there's an orange side. And I think we can configure this with the hammer, but I've never done it. I think if you click it, you can turn it off. You can turn it into a blue side, which means input, and an orange side, which means output. And I believe you can do that to all of them. So now it's an output, and now it's nothing, and now it's an input. The top will default to being blue, which is an input. We want to put a connector on that. But the top defaults to that, but you can I could do this and then put it here just as easily. And we want to put our connectors there. And then we take our coils and we right click one of them and then we right click another one. And it'll add this little wire here. So if I did it right, this should now start accumulating energy. If it's not accumulating energy, first of all, check that this is blue around the ring. And then check that this is facing the right direction. And if this is facing the right direction, maybe try putting it on the other side of the water wheel if the water wheel's going the wrong direction. But you should be able to get this to work, and it will slowly accumulate energy. Now, this is half of the battle, because now we can make the energy, but now we still need to get it out. So I can use the hammer to make an output. This side defaults as an output, but I'll just make it on this side. So I right-click it twice to make it orange. And now the garden clutch is kind of far away, so I'm going to grab it. So you should be able to bring the garden clutch over. It has like a connection that has just like kind of gray on it, and then one that has like a copper wire. The copper wire is the one that we want. And now we do the same thing. And I think I need to make more connectors myself, which I believe is these big ones. Yeah. All right. So we can put a connector on this output side, and we can put a connector here. This has nothing in it. And then when I go and take the coil, I right-click and I right-click, we should see that there's energy now going into the garden clutch. All right, so now that we have the power finished, we need to be able to get water into the garden clutch. The power should be general for any machine, but the garden clutch requires water as well. Just before I forget, this is using a water wheel, and the water wheels let you put 2 more water wheels next to it without needing another dynamo. So if you want more energy, you can put 2 additional water wheels here and not have to move anything else. You might have to change how the water is flowing at the top to make sure that it's like flowing, you know, nice and parallel to everything, and not in some like haphazard way. But just so you know, you can put more there, just like I did over there. So in order to get water into the garden clutch, ooh, watch out. These actually hurt you, so just be careful. In order to get water into the garden clutch, we need to be able to make, first of all, a fluid pump. And then with the fluid pump and just for the piping itself, we need to make these fluid pipes as well. So this requires 1 mechanical piece, which you can make real fast. So that's 2, and then my hammer. And I can make one of these. And then we need to make a whole bunch of plates, iron plates, because these are iron plates, and then these are also just a bunch of iron plates. So I'm just going to do like 32 or something. We're going to make a bunch of these, and then I'm going to make the pump. Now, I've never actually used this. This is the first time I'm using one of these, because I usually use ones from like thermal expansion or something. But I'm assuming what we need to do is make like a little infinite water source. All right, I cut the video because I couldn't get the pump to work, so I had to go figure out how to get it to work, but I figured it out. Okay, so I have my body of water. I can then put the pump 1 block above it. There's a output on the base. Like there's like a face on the base, but it should default to being on an input. If I could get down there, which I think I might be able to still do that. Let's not do that. It should be like, I should be able to say that it's an input, right? So it says opposite side, no connection, but it should be a fluid input. Water. Okay, so now that we have that, we have a connection on the top. So I put one of my connectors. Now, if you need to increase the distance from one thing to another, because these connectors are for like putting onto blocks and inputting and outputting the blocks. But if you just need to increase the distance between one of these, you can use the relay, which is cheaper to make. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to kind of like, I think I'm going to make it on the like higher up, because the things damage you when you walk into these wires. And I did it first without putting it higher up, and it got annoying. So I'm going to put it higher up this time. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to use my coils, and then you can't connect more than 1 wire. So I'm going to have to put my connector here, make sure that it's orange again, and then we can go and do all of our coils. Okay. The relays can have more than 1, it seems. These ones cannot have more than 1. I don't know if these ones can have more than 2 or not, though. I haven't tried it. Oh, yeah. They totally can. Okay. So yeah, the relays let you attach more than 1 thing, whereas these ones do not. Okay. So now that that's attached to the top, it now needs to have an output. So I can use the hammer, to right click on one of them and it will either turn it into an input, which is when it's blue, or orange, which is an output. I have like a thing that's showing me that it's telling me that it's a fluid output with no connection. I don't know if this is like a mod pack specific thing or if the immersive engineering mod itself is adding that in. But you can tell by the color as well. And then I'm going to take my pipes. This doesn't have water in it, and I should be able to connect it to this kind of like not copper wire one, and it should then give me water. Oh, right. It will give me water, but I need to give the pump a redstone signal. So I'm just going to place a torch next to it, and now I should have water. Awesome. Cool. Okay. So the garden clutch, just to show the rest of the garden clutch, you can put dirt in it, and then you can put any type of seeds in here. And it will start growing. Like, in fact, if I just go grab some random seeds, which I somehow don't have, either seeds or like, I think things like bamboo can grow. I might have some in here actually. Things like bamboo. I don't think trees can grow in garden clutches though. So there's a limit to like what plants you can grow, but I think a lot of things can. You'll see that it will kind of add this like fertilizer. It says fertilizer amount, but you don't need fertilizer. You can put some in here and it will make it go faster, but you don't need it. And this will just go down. And then when they have no fertilizer, it'll just go back up and go back down again. And then we'll see that it can grow. And then it will give me wheat and some seeds out of it, which is really convenient. The garden clutch also lets you grab items from this section. You can see that this has like an orange output here too. This is where you can use like item thingies to grab items out of. And then fertilizer can go in to the top up here, I believe. So yeah, it grows wheat like that. In order to use some other stuff in the mod, I'm not going to show it, but I can just like point it out. I said that we can get the items out of here. There are convenient things in the mod, such as if I can find it, I don't actually remember where it is. There's a chest you can do, and it's better. Yeah, okay. Wooden storage crate. You can make like a crate out of like treated wood, and they are bigger than a chest, or they can be, but they're kind of like shulker boxes where you can pick them up and it'll take all of the stuff with it. So you can use those for storage, at least early game if you don't have something more advanced. You can also make better ones. Then you also have item like pipes, which I'm trying to find. Yeah, you have like item router and item batcher. You also have conveyor belts. So you can get items out of it. I believe the item router, sorry, not the item router, the item batcher is a good way from getting things onto conveyor belts. So you'd like put one here and then you put a conveyor belt on the side to get your items out. You're also completely welcome to use other mods pipes. I like using item ducts, but I don't think those exist in 1.20 version of thermal expansion. Those are thermal expansion ones, and I think they're working on it currently. If those aren't an option, I like to use Ender IO conduits, called item conduits. And these are essentially just ways where you can get items in and out of things. And these are nice because they have channels. So you can do things from different machines on one spot, and then you can funnel it into a single one and then go somewhere and then funnel them back out, like spread them back out, and it will keep everything separate, which is nice. But those are just some things you can do with the immersive engineering mod. There's also the heavy machinery, which I kind of hinted at, and those are very useful for doing different things, such as like the sawmill is good for making any sort of wood products or a bunch of other stuff. You have the crusher, which can crush things and probably give you recipes that are more efficient than doing it in a furnace. There's like squeezers, fermenters, mixers. I haven't used a whole lot of these, but it just depends on the mod pack you're doing and how far you want to take the immersive engineering mod. It's also worth checking your mod pack's specific things because, let's see if I can figure out what this is called. Relay, maybe? It's worth checking because, like, for example, I have these like the more immersive wires mod thing, and this is an integration between immersive engineering and the applied energistics mod, which is like a storage system, if you've never used it before. So I could use these little wire things and attach it to the applied energistics stuff directly by using this integration. So it's worth checking that if your mod pack has helpful things that you can use with other mods. Now, I hinted that you can use item thingies to get items in and out of machines. The Immersive Engineering mod specifically gives you conveyor belts. So like other mods might have like item ducts and stuff, and I like using those, or like the Ender IO conduits. Immersive Engineering gives you conveyor belts. So we can use these, and I've definitely used these before as well. You might just be able to put them here, and it will grab your stuff, except for it's going the wrong direction. Sorry, hold on. I'm slow. Okay, I'm gonna put more here. Let's see. They're facing the wrong direction, but they saw that it got all of the wheat out of it. Maybe I can like turn the direction here. Okay, there we go. If you need to change the direction of something or do anything, right-clicking it with the hammer is usually a good way to go. So you can see that this is grabbing the items onto the conveyor belt from this output right here. If I had another thing with an input, let's say a chest, which I don't have enough treated wood for, so I'm going to get some more. Do that, and I can make one of these little wooden storage crates. I might be able to put it right here and have it go in. Maybe I need to like, maybe? Oh yeah, it totally does. Okay, yeah. So you can use the conveyor belts from the Immersive Engineering mod to get things into containers. You're also, again, welcome to use other mods if you have them available. Other things that are available in the mod, which I won't necessarily show you in this video, but are useful to know. There are things such as like circuit breakers, which means you can kind of break your wires and have more complex kind of just like, I don't know, power wires everywhere, because mine are just kind of haphazardly thrown everywhere, but you can make more complicated, more sophisticated ones. You could have transformers, and these are necessary if you are using like heavy machinery. So I'm assuming like some of these things might require higher voltages. And like the voltage is like, this is low voltage. The LV stands for low voltage. So all this stuff is low voltage. I have a low voltage accumulator. I'm using low voltage wire connectors, low voltage wire relays. The transformer lets you go from like medium voltage to low voltage or vice versa. So that might be necessary. You also can make different power generation techniques, like such as thermoelectric generator, diesel generator, lightning rods. I'm assuming the lightning rod might require a transformer or two. But yeah, there's a lot of different things you could do. There are, of course, different machines that I haven't showed because there's quite a bit of them that are useful in their own right. Turrets, for example, Tesla coils, and heavy machinery, which helps you with resource processing and things like that. All right, everyone, that'll be it for this video. I hope you don't run into any issues or compatibility problems. If you do, you can feel free to leave a comment and I can do my best to help you. No promises that I'll know what the issue is though. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day and I hope to see you next time.